What's up, guys? Y'all here back with another video, and in this video I'll be breaking down how to print with Facebook ads even with a small budget in 2026. So to get right into things, this was yesterday for one of the brands that I run, and as you can see we did 19K yesterday, and this was all utilizing this strategy that I'm about to show in this video here. And this even works for low spending campaigns, and if you're not spending that much a day. Like this was with one of my other brands as well. Spent $715 in the day, got a return of 3.31. And then this is another brand as well. Spent 3,000 yesterday and got a return of 2.72. So it all utilizes this strategy and this foundation that I'm gonna be exploring in this video, and it's really, 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 really simple. So first things first, right? There's a lot of distractions in the sense of, as a founder, you have all these things to worry about, whether that's fulfillment, the supply chain, manufacturers, things of that nature, even finance, and all these like areas, aspects that take your time and energy away from the things that actually move the needle. And when you really look at it, there's only 20 actions, like 20% of actions that drive 80% of results. And that's called the Pareto principle. And so it's very important that we focus, right? So what I'm going to be breaking down is essentially kind of like The One Thing by Gary Keller, this book that I read, but it's really the two things, right? And the two primary levers that drive growth for your brand. So number one is going to be our offer. Right, so Alex Hormozi talks about this a lot, especially in his own book, $100 million Offers, and it's basically the idea of perceived value. And I like to list out the 3 Ps. So the offer can be broken up into the product, the price, and the overall promotion. And literally everyone talks about it in the space. Like if you go to D2C Twitter, you can see, the Avi guys with their tweets. My mentor, Sam, Anuha with his brand Icon, and just like some other guys in the space, just always talking about offers and how they're always testing offers. Because at the end of the day, that's what the user sees, right? And that's what compels them to buy at the end of the day. So what this looks like in practice, right? I just pulled a couple screenshots from the top direct-to-consumer brands in the space. So we have Shop GOD. As you can see, they're always running offers. This is a bundle offer that they have, and it's get any 2 items for $99, right? And I've bought from them in the past, especially in high school and things of that nature. But as you can see, it's just a good offer, right? You get 2 items for $99. You get to build your own set, and it's very appealing, versus if it was just like one single chain that you were getting for like $60 or whatever. Now you're boosting the AOV to $100 plus. To really, by pushing a good offer. Base Bodyworks, they've been crushing it. They're selling, duos rather than singles, bundling things together. So it can be just as simple as that, just from bundling even to like product discounts. But it's overall like the perceived value, like I mentioned. Here's True Classic, $1 billion brand. As you can see, they're doing bundles, right? And then they're also indicating how much you're going to save on each bundle, right? So you save $19 if you do a 2-pack. You save $34 if you do a 3-pack. You save $99 if you do a 6-pack, et cetera, et cetera. So it's pushing you and incentivizing you to spend more with them. And then they also have like an insiders club to get extra 10% off, and then they get you on subscription for $1 a month. So at the end of the day, they're really pushing for that profit per visitor, and ultimately that's allowed them to scale to that $1 billion status. And really all these brands really are at a $1 billion, or not $1 billion, but a 9-figure run rate. These are all 9-figure brands doing $100 million plus a year. So Fashion Nova, everyone knows Fashion Nova. They have crazy offers. If you go on their website 365 days out of the year, every single day they're always going to have an offer, whether that's free 1-day shipping over $100 orders, whether that's just simple discounts site-wide. They're always going to have offers live on their site. And consumers, buy that. You know what I mean? Grunz, one of the fastest growing CPG brands in the decade. As you can see here, just simple landing page, right? But they're pushing a specific offer, limited time offers, save up to 52% on your first order. And yeah, it's just really that simple. You want to have that perceived value showcase to the customer. This AG1 right here, monthly delivery, 3-month delivery, showing the delta in the price on that side of things, as well as the discounts you can save. So that's pretty evident that we have to have a clear offer, not just slapping your product on a page and just selling it for, let's say $20, right? You want to actually have an offer and a perceived value mechanism behind that. So what this looks like in practice is you can actually utilize tools such as like Intelligence or Convert.com or other like A/B testing tools for your website to actually test your offers and your CRO testing. And at the end of the day, it just increases, your revenue, your spend, and your overall profit as a business, which is ultimately what we're aiming for. And these are some like tests that I've ran, just with my brand. This is intelligence itself specifically, but as you can see, like even with my conversion rate going down, my overall profit per visitor and revenue per visitor went up, which is the overall North Star, right? Because the more that we can profit per visitor, the more that we can scale and push on ads. And then even like this test here, this offer test, it boosted conversion rates by 34%, boosted revenue per visitor by 60%, and then profit per visitor by 54%. And that lifts all ads in all channels as well. So, all the traffic being driven to this landing page, it effectively boosts I gotta get rid of this fucking antivirus. But yeah, it literally boosts and rises all tides. So it's really important that we implement and showcase these, right? So there's a couple ways that you can showcase offers on your website, like how these brands have it here. But a lot of like the native Shopify themes actually don't do it. But with the recent development of Cloud Code, I've been using that a lot. You can actually get a lot of, the HTML and CSS coding done for your website, but the problem with that is it's kind of finicky and it doesn't, it's really like, unless you have like a lot of dev experience, then it's kind of hard to do that. But that's a good starting point that you can explore, and it's a free solution, but you would actually have to edit the source code of your theme. And if you're not like experienced, you can kind of fuck things up, so I'll be wary of that. But in the past, I just used like some simple page builders, like Pagefly, gem pages, things like that. But I actually found out about this new page builder from Atlas, and essentially they reached out to me, and I actually like their product. Like a lot of people try to reach out to me to promote their products, but I don't like to do that as I don't see myself using that product. But this actual product, I was actually pretty impressed about. So it's a Shopify app, right? And essentially it has all these elements that you can add for your offers, as you can see here, and it's pretty simple. It has all the scripting, all the scripting on the back end, so it just handles everything that you need. And you can overall like boost your results and get numbers like these. Intelligence also has their own like kind of builder, but it's kind of finicky as they're just mainly a split testing site. But this is actually, I'm quite impressed about. And they also have this new feature. They just shared this with me with their new update. And essentially, let me share this. Essentially, basically, you can choose how to set up. So like if you're drop shipping or something, right, you can have Atlas decide how it builds out your store, or you can use like one of their preset templates, or you can even use it for your own theme. So it's natively integrated, so it all looks uniform, which is pretty cool, because a lot of softwares and tools don't have this. But then it also has all the copy and research that goes into your product page. You can actually add more research docs to that to ultimately improve your copy and your overall layout on your page, which is really cool to see. You know what I'm saying? So you can have like all your competitor information, you can have all your brand information, your brand guidelines, etc., and then just upload that to the actual doc, and then it will just basically give you a full-fledged product page, as you can see here, and it just asks you more questions. But it's pretty streamlined. You can get like a full product page ready to test pretty simple and pretty fast, which is really cool to see. But yeah, this is kind of what it looks like on mobile version. Like as you can see, it has like some of the features here, just really showcasing the offer and things like that. Let me go to here. They actually have a demo store that I want to check out. But yeah, this is kind of like the idea, right? Because we want to present offers. I need to get rid of that. We want to present offers in an appealing way, and also has like social proof mechanisms and things of that nature, which is really cool to see. But yeah, I would definitely use a tool like Atlas. I'll have a description link in the description below. But moving forward, like once you have the foundation of the funnel dialed in, right, then it's important that we move forward to our only second primary lever, right, in terms of actually scaling the brand, and that's going to be creative, right? And then before we even dive into creative, it's very important that we get the context behind it, right? So motion is actually a tool as well, basically for advertisers, and it allows you to see like the soft metrics, like the CPM, click-through rate, things of that nature, the hold rate, to really analyze, these ads on a one-to-one basis, apples to apples comparison. But essentially, they have, pretty much, they work with pretty much all of the big direct-to-consumer brands in the space. Not sponsored by them at all, but just showcasing kind of the context and background behind them. But essentially, right, they launched a study recently, right? And essentially what they found was that essentially the more, the more ads that they launch per week, the more winners essentially that they found within the ad account, right? And essentially what that means in theory is like it's really just a numbers game, like in the sense like if you want to win the lottery more, then you had to buy more lottery tickets essentially, right? So you can see this graph here. They kind of also split it down between micro brands, small brands, medium, large, and enterprise brands, based off their actual monthly ad spend. But as you can see here, right, there's a pretty clear correlation in terms of like the amount of ads launched per week versus like the actual winners in the ad account that actually move the needle and improve spend for the actual count. And it's kind of enlightening that we see this study, because we always hear about like launch more ads, but there's no real science behind it. But for an actual like enterprise solution to actually reveal this data in this study is pretty enlightening, to say the least. But yeah, just launch more ads, and you'll typically get better results. That's pretty much what it's saying. So more sales, more spend, more creatives, right? If you want more sales, then you need more spend, then you need more creatives, right? So, and that kind of just ties back to Meta Andromeda, right? And what they were saying with the new update and whatever. And it's essentially the idea of just creative diversification and creative volume as a whole, because at the end of the day, Meta Andromeda is basically segmenting, your specific ad creative, and it's serving it to the unique individual, right? So like you can have a lot of different types of ads, right, that targets a lot of different personas and different market awareness levels and market sophistication levels. But at the end of the day, it's gonna serve it to what is most likely to convert. And yeah, so that just all leads to your creative output. And another topic I want to talk about is our entity ID. So essentially, when people are looking at creative diversification or just like pumping out a bunch of creatives, they tend to overlook this idea of entity IDs, and this is very important when it comes to actual, the hit rate or the actual winning success of your ads. So basically, this is directly from Meta, and this is their idea of like Andromeda and entity IDs and the overall context behind it. And as you can see, it just shows you like the user requests, the amount of ads that we have, kind of their whole delivery process, and how they're using AI to really just push the best ad candidates in front of the user, and kind of like an entity ID, like I was saying, just go circle back. So like this would be considered one entity ID, right? So essentially, this is three different variations of an ad, but it is one entity ID. And what that means is that for one user, Facebook basically sees these as one similar ad, right? So one same ad, right? Now we may see these as three separate ads, right? But this is one ad in Facebook eyes, right? Because this is one entity ID in the sense that it is not different enough to really drive impact or push the needle. But something like this, right? This can be more so three separate entity IDs, in the sense that yes, it's the same concept, but the visuals are different, right? So this will have a different impact on performance if this was shown to somebody as opposed to this hoodie, as opposed to this hoodie. So it's just the same hoodie, just in different colorways, and it will have a bigger lift within the ad account, just promoting variations and differentiations of concepts in this manner and aspect, versus if you were to show something like this, which is very apples to apples, very, very one-on-one in that sense. So it's very important that we look at it from that lens of the creative diversification. And it's very important that, we're not launching a lot of ads within the ad account that are essentially the same thing, right? Because we still want to reach net new audiences in different segments of the market, because at the end of the day, your creative does the targeting, so like, for example, I could also like launch these style of ads, but if I wanted to get more spend and more reach into those new audience segments and pockets of the market, then I'll have to change up the ethnicities and the styles, et cetera, right? So I can try this like creators with like the same fit. I can do the same fits, but like let's say I do it with some white people or some Hispanic people, right? Now, like when white or Hispanic people view the ad, it looks like them and it appeals to them, and they'll be more likely to convert versus another race, right? So yeah, that's creative diversification, kind of the whole idea of entity IDs. But we live in an attention economy. I think the average stat was that the average person swipes the height of Eiffel Tower a day. So that just shows you like the competitive landscape that we live in terms of like the saturation overall. But it's very important that we just output creative consistently, especially with this study, right? It's pretty clear to see. Like even when I talk to, you know, the clients that I work with and like the brands that I see, you know, who are succeeding versus the brands who aren't, and it's pretty like just clear. It's really, if you break it down, it's really one of these one things, whether the offer or the creator, or whether the author or the creative, and most times out of not, it's the actual the creative, you know, and that's just from like a capacity standpoint and execution standpoint from the team itself in terms of outputting, you know, creatives consistently. And like I said, like the brands that are really crushing it, that are doing, you know, 20K a day, 50K a day, etc. They're really pushing that volume in that diversification within the ad account. So a good starting point though is just like 30 creatives a month, right? Like if you're spending $50 to $100 a day, like I don't recommend spending less than $50 a day because you're not gonna get enough learnings. Really $100 a day is the sweet spot, right? And you kind of build from there. But 30 creatives a month, if you can like consistently do that, not just like one-off month, but really just consistently do that. And I was even talking to some of my homeboys about that with their own brands, right? On just getting like that creative consistency in that volume and that throughput throughout the ad account, you're gonna actually see that that's the key to success. And Alex Hormozi talks about this a lot. He says, this is one of his posts: if you roll a dice 1,000 times, you're likely to get lucky. And when you get lucky, people will call you out. The difference is you can force luck to happen by doing so much that it would be unreasonable not to get lucky. And this is what normies don't understand and why you'll beat them, right? So that's a kind of a good endpoint on that creative throughput. But yeah, that's essentially how you go from like $50 a day to just $10,000 a day, as you can see here. This is also one of the brands that I run, 50K yesterday. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one, then you can click the link in the description down below. Check out Atlas. The link in the description is down below as well. But until then, I see y'all in the next video.